This week I'm going to start building our custom carbon fiber steering system that we plan will be very simple, very robust, and redundant. My name is Matt. Follow along as I turn Duracell, the legendary ocean racing sailboat, into a comfortable cruising home. So we're back in the machine space underneath the cockpit. And this week we are diving into a really fun, really big, and really important project, which is to finish building out the steering system. The plan will be over the next couple of weeks to build composite quadrants, install idler pulleys and turning blocks in order to make it so that the steering wheel will turn the rudders of the boats. I've already got the pedestals and the steering wheels installed. This will be a very fun project, like I said, to get this whole contraption built.
Originally, there was one steering wheel in the boat much further forward in the cockpit. That steering wheel controlled a gearbox below deck that pushed two connecting rods which were attached to a small tiller on the rudders. It was a simple and robust system. But now I've moved the pedestals and wheels aft to basically be on top of the rudders. The steering system that would work best for us in this situation will be to use cables run through pulleys that will turn rudders via a radial drive on each rudder. The design for this system has been in the works for a long time, and it has been iterative as the rest of the machine space was built out. Our design criteria is for robustness, simplicity, and redundancy, which is hard to accomplish with two rudders and two wheels. Each wheel will essentially be connected to its corresponding rudder with two cables connected to the rudder's radial drive. Then the radial drives will be connected to each other with an adjustable connecting rod. In this configuration, we can lose a steering wheel and still drive the boat with the other wheel by disconnecting the lost wheels cable. Or if a rudder gets jammed, we can decommission the jammed rudder by removing the connecting rod, and the good rudder will continue to function. We considered having aluminum radial drives made, but decided that it would be more fun and a lot cheaper for me to build my own radial drives. Evan, of course, was a huge help to engineer these radial drives. After calculating the turning moment, which is the torque required to turn both rudders, given the size of the wheels we have, we landed on a radial drive with a 12-inch radius. I have some leftover 207 Edura panel. I'm going to add a couple layers of carbon to those, which is overkill, but I have leftovers available, so I may as well. So let's build these things.
So the first step is going to be to cut out the quadrants.
Here I'm cutting the carbon fiber to add extra strength to the Edura panel cores that will become the radial drives. Again, it's overkill, but why not, since I have the leftover? This way I'll never have to worry that the drives will fail.
Hi, John.
What's up, man?
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good.
Good to see you too, bud.
Thanks for coming out.
Dude, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I have a compass that I can bolt my router to with a 1/4-inch cutting bit, which is really handy for making a perfect circle. I'm cutting these out to a 13-inch radius, and I'll cut them down later. This is an extra layer of biaxial carbon to help distribute the load from the composite clamp into the rest of the radial drive. I'll laminate one to the top and bottom to make sure the laminates stay balanced. I don't want any warping to happen. Before I got out the epoxy, I marked where the reinforcements would be laid out, where the radial drive will be cut down to, and lastly, where I'll reinforce for the connecting rod, and then cut out the hole for the connecting rod reinforcement.
My radial drives, are also known as quadrants, they're not quadrants because they're full circles, they're radial drives, are cut out, and these little holes I've cut in the sides of them are for where the cross link between the two rudders will attach to, so I'm going to be reinforcing this area. But today what I'm doing is laminating more carbon to both sides of these to strengthen each piece, as well as reinforcement patches around stuff like these holes. And so I'm going to vacuum bag it. We'll get our total boat epoxy out and do some old school Duracell project. Fun.
Old school Duracell project. Fiberglassing.
Yeah,
GoPro.
carbon fiber.
Carbon fiber. GoPro shots of carbon fiber.
Yep, and this is just the beginning of this project. Like these are going to look totally different by the time we're all done with this radial drive project. So I'm really looking forward to this.
Okay, so fiberglass sickos, get ready for a good time.
Yeah.
You know, you might be the biggest fiberglass sicko of all. You do realize this.
I don't say it might be in the running.
I'm going to vacuum these down on the table, but I don't want them to stick to the table, so I waxed the surface really well, and then covered it with plastic so I don't contaminate any parts. The connecting rod reinforcement includes a solid glass G10 puck inserted into the part. Since these are foam cord parts, I can't have a highly loaded bolt wear against foam, so I'm replacing the foam with solid glass. Once the puck was in place, I could start laminating. I laminated 3 layers of 8-ounce carbon weave plus reinforcing patches to each side and then vacuum bagged them to the table. For those of you that are new to this method of laminating using a vacuum bag, the purpose is to press the laminate to the part like a clamp, which squeezes out excess epoxy and eliminates any voids in the laminate. There's an ideal fiber to resin ratio, which is about 60% fiber to 40% resin. I use a plastic perforated sheet on top of the peel ply to govern how much epoxy is pressed out of the lamination, and the felt is there to absorb the excess epoxy and allow airflow inside the bag.
Whoops.
Here I forgot to saturate that little patch with epoxy. The next day, when the parts were cured, I pulled off the bag and materials and cleaned them up. This included finding the center again and cutting down the excess around the perimeter and cutting a hole in the center up for the rudder stock. Next, I marked where the slot will be removed so that the drives can be installed in the boat. These slots are as wide as the diameter of the center hole. I used the track saw to cut the slots. All right, so this next part took me forever to figure out and set up, but the goal is to build a groove around the perimeter for the Dyneema cable to run in, as well as remove the exposed foam core edge by connecting the two outside skins together. So I first had to remove the foam core, about 3/4 inches deep, all the way around the perimeter. I had to be super careful because the skins are very thin and easily damaged. Now that the foam core was removed, I mixed up some Total Boat high performance epoxy with about 50/50 high density filler and colloidal silica to a thick peanut butter texture. This I squeezed into the groove like cake frosting and then smoothed it out. Now it was time to cut the actual groove. I'm using a shorter and smaller radius router bit from before to leave enough of the epoxy material to make the track. Again, I had to be super careful to not damage the carbon skins, and they almost came out unscathed, but I did nick one of them. These radial drives are not done yet. Next week, I have the even more challenging project of building the giant clamps that will attach those radial drives to the rudder posts. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next week.